Nate, Eternal. Well, first of all, I'm Chris, CVP. I know most of you here, which is why I wasn't sure I wanted to talk. I think you've all heard me blather on before, but hopefully you get some value out of this. Dan had me on the TMBA last year, and it was awesome, and we talked a lot about email and why I like email and actually find email to be quite pleasant. So Nate asked me to come in today and share a little bit more about that and my tips for getting the most out of your email. So I've got 9 tips. I'm calling them the CVP 9. Obviously, you need to consider your own business, consider your own needs. Don't apply any tools that you don't actually need or don't have a use case for. But anyway, let's dive right in. So anyway, I'm the founder of Van Patten Media. We do high-end WordPress and other things. In Tomodomo, we do community management. It's the Japanese word for togetherness. We do community management, strategy, design, all that kind of stuff. Worked on the DC, a bunch of other stuff. But both of these are very high-touch businesses where we're kind of dealing with a lot of money, so clients kind of expect access. And so a lot of our workflow is in email. So first of all, tip number 1, separate inboxes. And I have separate inboxes for work, junk, and personal emails. I separate them out that way because, obviously you want to keep everything separate. Work is important to have on its own because those are sort of high priority things. The junk is just sort of a catch-all. That's kind of where your mailing list subscription should go. I have my Amazon account there. Just kind of anything that's going to generate a lot of notifications, you want to send to the junk email. And then personal email. I use my personal email less and less, and I'm just kind of putting that all into the junk email. I also don't email my friends very often, so it's not a big deal. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2, send an archive. If you're going to take one thing away from today, this is the thing you need to take away. The inbox should be for stuff that you haven't acted on yet. The minute you've acted on it, it needs to disappear. And that's why I say send an archive is the most important. Because it's going to keep your inbox from getting overflowing, right? We all want inbox 0. You can achieve that.
Is that a setting?
Yeah, so this is in Gmail. This is just go into your Gmail settings and find send an archive. If you use Outlook, I'm sorry, but it's probably possible in there.
To go with the time.
But yeah, and I'll show you this actually. Here you go, send plus archive. This is the one, this is the magic button, which means that the instant I send this, that email is going to disappear out of my inbox and it's gone forever, and that's exciting.
What if someone replies?
Someone replies, bounces right back in.
Oh.
All right, keyboard shortcuts. J, K, and E are your new best friends. Sorry, Billy. It's an in-joke for everyone who was here yesterday. Keyboard shortcuts are amazing. They're going to rapidly increase your speed in your inbox and just going to make it easier to process things really, really quickly. Ultimately, big picture, our goal is to condense your time in your email down to the absolute minimum, so you can batch it 2 times a day or whatever. Or if you've got a couple extra minutes, so you can get in there and just knock stuff out really quickly rather than getting bogged down. So this is not playing. So this is a live video of me. This is my junk inbox because I realized my main inbox is so clean I had to go somewhere that's got junk. But this is just me processing in real time. You can see the keyboard shortcuts going by just as I'm cranking through stuff, reading messages, archiving. And ultimately, for me, when I'm using keyboard shortcuts, it's just to get all the junk out, or the stuff that I don't need to reply to. So I'm reply it all on a bunch of stuff, so I can just kind of quickly skim through that archive, move to the next thing, just process all that stuff that doesn't require me to do anything other than see it. So seeing, in that case, seeing is the action that I'm trying to take, so I can just kind of quickly get all that stuff away, star things that matter, archive other things, mark things read or unread, all that kind of stuff. This is also in Gmail. It's off by default, which is crazy to me. Turn it on, and then if you're on a Mac, it's Command and / I think will get you the full list of the shortcuts. Learn them, love them. They'll change your life. All right, next, labels. Better organization, better you. I'm a huge advocate for labels because it makes it, again, our goal is to be in and out as quickly as possible. And when you have labels and when you apply color to the labels, it's very easy to scroll through a list of stuff and see exactly what's what. So it makes it very easy to visually kind of look at this, and I can say, all right, these are reminders. That's one of my important clients. I leave stuff that's gray that's kind of it's like an introduction for an app or something, a payment process notification. So notifications from apps, like I'll leave as gray. And then stuff that I know is coming from a client or whatever, that gets a color. Or something that I need to act on in a certain way, that gets a color. So it makes it very easy in the morning when you get everything in to kind of see what's what. And the reason that I'm doing that especially is because filters, because manually applying labels is for dorks. So ideally, in a perfect world, you never have to manually apply a label to an email. By the time it hits your inbox, it should already be labeled. Also, I'm going to step back for a second. I'm talking Gmail. If you're not using Gmail, you're insane because Gmail has all this stuff. I don't think anyone else comes even close. So anyway, the filters. So what I could do, for instance, is I can say any mail from the domain dynamitecircle.com. I'm going to create a filter with that search. You can even do other stuff. So you can even say, like, if it's from Dan at Dynamite Circle, that way the admin emails don't get processed in this label. Or I can say anything that goes to a certain inbox or has a certain thing in the subject. I'm going to create a search for that. So I do the search, I run the search, and I say create filter with the search. You can see it like parses it into its special Google search query. And I'm going to check this box and I'm going to say apply the label, and I'll drop that down and find my DC label inside my client's label. So I'll show you in a second, but I've got like tons and tons of labels that I've accumulated over the years. And then what I'll do is also apply it to match the conversation. So anything that it found in that initial search, it's going to apply the label, and then it's going to do that the second anything new hits my inbox. So that's huge because then when you wake up in the morning, whatever, and you do that initial email process, all those labels are there just from your looking at your phone. You don't have to futz around with the interface to add labels or whatever. It's all there. It's all colored, and it's easy to just kind of swipe stuff off and archive and get the inbox down to the essentials. I don't know where we are in like numbers, but anyway, here we go. Undo send. I'm not even going to go into this one, but like you should have it enabled. It's not by default. You can have Gmail do undo send up to 30 seconds. Critical, do it now.
You can actually do
It's
that?
great. You can absolutely.
Really
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah, this is you just go into your Gmail settings. If you haven't been in Gmail settings, it used to be up to 20. They bumped it up to 30. Yeah.
Why don't you do like 5
killer.
minutes?
How do I find it?
I said, why don't you do like 5 minutes?
Well, I would love that, but yeah, undo send. Don't send the email after all those margaritas. You will regret it. So, but at least this way you've got sort of
30
a safety
seconds.
net.
Regret.
All right, now I just did, I think it was 6 tips within Gmail. I'm going to give you 3 tools now. Again, to refresh what I said before, don't implement a tool if you don't have a specific use case for it. I think that's kind of crazy. But if you do have the use case, awesome. So Write Inbox is one of those things that you can add. It's very similar to Boomerang. I like this one better because it's just kind of a nicer interface. I just like it. If you've got Boomerang working for you, awesome. Because it's 2017. Who needs a good memory? So now's the interactive part of this. All right, so I'm here in my inbox. I am going to go down. I kind of left some of this. I've got an email from my dad here. He wants a copy of my AAA card. I'm not going to do anything with that today. I'm probably not going to do anything with that tonight, but I could probably do something with it tomorrow. So I'm going to go here. This is Write Inbox. I'll click that, and I'm going to say tomorrow morning, and then it's gone. And so what's going to happen is tomorrow morning, I'm going to get that email back in my inbox, and it's going to say, okay, now you should do something about this, and then I will. You can also use Write Inbox for other things.
Or you're going to have it remind you every day for the next 25 days.
Yeah, exactly. Until I finally send my dad the AAA card, or he calls me or whatever. It's like, what are you doing? So you can also do other things with it. Send later is amazing. So send later is exactly what it sounds like. Oops.
Why is send later amazing?
Send later is amazing because you shouldn't be answering email on weekends or if you're on vacation. We all go into our email, but you don't want to set the expectation. So I'll go in and I'll write my email because it's on the mind. I'm going to write the email and then send later, and I'm going to say I'll send it tomorrow morning, or my favorite, on Monday morning. I click that all the time. Email goes out on Monday. Client doesn't have the expectation that you'll be available because you want to use that expectation sparingly, or the fact that you can be available on a weekend. You just don't, it's the wrong impression to set up front, because then you're going to get the emails constantly throughout the project. On Saturdays, like, why aren't you replying on a Saturday? This kind of helps you alleviate that a little bit. And you can also set a reminder before an email goes out. So I can say, remind me about this tomorrow morning. And I can also say, only if nobody responds. So if somebody responds to the email, it's just going to be in the inbox like it normally would be, but if nobody does, it's going to bounce it back in. So that makes it easier to do follow-ups. You can also do notes, recurring reminders, things like that. I'm not going to go into that. We're going to go back to the slides. Sorry, I'm going so quickly. Contactually, so follow-ups can be fun or at least easy. I almost didn't talk about this. This is one of my secret weapon tools that I love. It's sort of a personal sales CRM. They have a lot of customers in the real estate space. I've never bought a house, so but I guess real estate people like to do email follow-ups. But contactually sort of helps me not need to worry about, am I following up with the right people at the right time? Am I making sure relationships are active or not, or whatever? Again, I'm gonna show it to you. But the reason that I almost didn't talk about this is because this is my secret sauce. So every day I get a new reminder in here that says, follow up with this person today. So this is a person I spoke with a year ago, 162 days ago, a couple familiar names up here, at least from here on down. Basically what you do is you import all your contacts and then you put them into buckets. And these buckets are sort of special purpose groups of contacts. These are long-term prospects, active referral sources, sphere of influence, whatever. And basically, I go in here and I say, anyone in this bucket, I want to remind myself to follow up with that person every 80 days, or every 7 days, every whatever. For like sphere of influence, which many of you are in, 180 days. So twice a year, I want to just send you an email and say, hey, what's up? And it's not because I'm trying to get anything out of you. It's just because I genuinely want to talk to you, but I also don't want to have to remember to talk to you every 6 months. So this kind of automates that process. It integrates with Gmail, so everything's going out through Gmail. It's totally transparent. It's amazing. Just really quickly.
That's cool.
It's amazing. It can do like tracking and reply tracking, click tracking, all that stuff. I don't even know how to turn it off. I know it's possible, but I don't care about that. It doesn't matter. So it's literally just like a Gmail interface, saying it pre-populates it, do templates and stuff. I don't do any of that. You know, it can notify you if it's open or whatever. You can schedule it for later. BombBomb's like a video follow-up thing. It's like a third-party service where you can like record a little video that gets embedded into the email. You can do like pipelines and templates and all this kind of crazy stuff. I don't use any.
Hello, friend.
It's it's me. How's it going? But yeah, it's really cool. It can kind of like tell you roughly how you're doing in terms of all that. I don't care about that. It's just sort of a helpful way for me to make sure I'm staying engaged with people who actually matter to me. Finally, and then I'll do questions if we've got time. This is a new one that I just discovered. So if you're on the DC, you might have seen that I posted a couple days ago about making sure that like some emails that sometimes got to me, like I could also bring in team members and like basically kind of managing the fact that sometimes I get emails that I'm not supposed to, or that I shouldn't have to respond to. So Missive is really cool because it's basically like a way to share your inbox. So there are a lot of shared inbox tools that let you have like a shared support at your company or whatever. This one actually lets you share your personal inbox. This one we've only been using for like a week or so, but it's like life-changing. So here we are. It's just an email app. But what I can do is I can go in here and I can say, actually this is a good example here. So my project manager started a draft of a progress update for a project we're working on with a little company called Marvel. She wrote this, and then down here I can leave a comment on that draft, and she's going to get that notification there, you know, about an issue that we fixed. Here's an email from DCer Mandy. Maybe you know her, but let's say this was something that was like a request from a client. What I can do is I can go in here. This is like just to me, so there's no like, this is Chris at Venpat Media. This is just directly synced to my Gmail. I can go in here and I can go up here and I can say, all right, add my project manager, Olivia. Now, when Olivia opens up her copy of Missive, she's going to be able to see this email and she can leave comments on it or respond as her. So even though she wasn't included in that original email thread, this lets her join into that email thread.
Use with caution.
Exactly, but it's amazing because now, like when clients email me, like, Chris, can you fix the domain setting on our site? Like, I don't have to be like, no, like, and forward it on to the next person. I can just assign Olivia an app. I can get rid of it. I can archive it, pretend it never happened, and then all of a sudden she's handling that issue. And it syncs all your labels from Gmail. It's basically like you could use it as a Gmail replacement if you wanted to. All right. That said, I don't know how we're doing on time, but I'm happy to take questions on this or anything else.
We've got about 8 minutes.
Start with Becky. Yes.
Does that have a collision warning? Because I use another one, Ivor, and that's
Yes.
good when someone's replying.
Yeah, so like if, I don't know that I can show it to you, but like if I go in here and I start a draft or something, so I'm just gonna put in some text. I think I can do that. So it'll show you in real time, and this will update as the other person is typing their draft. So you can watch anyone else in there. You can also it's cool, you pop it up and it's got this little chat window here, right on the side. So I could just kind of leave comments that they're going to show up in real time as Olivia's working on the email reply, or as I'm working on the email reply. So yeah, it's very cool.
Does that contactually software integrate with social?
So there is a Twitter integration. I haven't been able to figure it out,
Yeah.
but it is theoretically possible. I would definitely say that's a weak point, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So do you use contactually in place of a CRM, like Streak or something like that?
Yes, so I use it as a personal CRM. We don't have a CRM for the actual company, just because our lead volume is pretty low. Maybe 1 lead a week, and I handle that personally. You can use it as a full-purpose business CRM if you really wanted to. It's got all the capabilities. You can do pipelines in there, for deal flow and things like that. It can do follow-up, automated follow-up sequences, any of that stuff. I just kind of keep it pretty simple.
Yeah, I use it. It replaced a bunch of tools for me. I mean, it does the pipelines, like you said, it does
Yeah.
the send later as well.
Yeah,
So a
it
lot
can
of those
do
very cool things.
basically anything you throw at it. I think it's $60 a month or something. I'm probably using $10 worth of that 60, but for me, it's worth it.
And
Just the
actually,
value I get.
AJ was talking about the scale mail. I honestly thought you were going to start talking about contactually because they
Yeah,
have
it's got a
that.
purpose-built solution
It's
for-
got essentially it's
yeah.
mail merge, and then you can have the whole sequence of emails. So the next thing they have are the programs, so you can have that more
Yeah.
personalized. It's one thing that I do at LinkedIn is big in my engineering firm, engineering marketplace. I know it's not for a lot of internet marketers, but everybody does those annoying congrats on the new job, useless LinkedIn things.
Yeah.
Basically anything that I see on LinkedIn reminds me about an anniversary or a significant thing. I just take that offline and I put it into contactually to
Yeah, so
work.
you can
Well,
also
do that
do
by email, and then also I have certain programs for
So I can go
LinkedIn
in-
follow-up, moving that relationship off of LinkedIn and into email, if that's how you first came into contact with them as a natural way.
It serves as a full purpose kind of whatever you throw at it piece of software, which is really nice, but not in a way that's overwhelming. So you can use 1/10 of the functionality, still feel comfortable.
Looking at yours, I was realizing that on some of my buckets, I had my contact probably set too low. And
Yeah,
so
that's
then you get
something I
overwhelmed
realized
and then
too.
you just
Yeah,
lose
exactly.
it,
I
but-
actually stopped using it for a little while because I was getting 3 notifications a day, and my main sphere of influence bucket was follow up every 60 days. It's just way too much.
Yeah.
Because then it happens, you're oh my god, I just talked to them yesterday or whatever. So every 6 months is kind of where I'm at now. 1 follow up a day, and that's enough. That's more than I need.
How about managing multiple Google Apps accounts? Obviously on my phone, if I go to all inboxes, I can get a quick look at all the emails, but if you have a Google app, 2 different Google apps, I know you can forward one to the other, but
I like to keep them separate.
yeah.
I find, I've tried that before, but I find that the benefits of keeping them separate are way better because it allows you to sort of mentally approach different inboxes differently. So I'll quickly, my 3 main inboxes is my Van Patten Media inbox. I can actually kind of quickly do that, archive that. This is my junk inbox, so clearly I don't even know where half of these subscriptions come from, but this one I don't care about at all. This is just Benny Lewis, here we go. Yeah, literally everything goes in there. So I've got this, it's 75,000 almost unread emails, and this is my personal one, which is half junk, half talking to family, random stuff. And I say junk, but I get things in the junk inbox that I care about, things that I actually will go in and read every day. I just put them in here because if they're in here, I don't feel guilty about leaving them in this inbox. Whereas the work inbox, the stuff that actually matters, I want to keep there, which is mostly one-on-one communication.
kind of a follow-up on Anthony's question. I have a situation where I'm operating within a white label, and I have the emails that are getting forwarded to my main inbox, so I do a pretty similar inbox zero that you got, but I have this super pain in the ass step where I have to log into the additional inbox to just send the reply. Is there a better way to do that?
Yeah, so you can actually go into Gmail settings and you can do from addresses. So I can go in, I think it's forwarding, no, I think it's accounts. Yes, you can set up send mail as accounts. There's like a little wizard that pops up when you go through it. And then I have it checked off, so like I get I don't even use this email anymore, but I have like this email where if somebody were to send an email to Chris at LML, it would come into my inbox because I set up the forwarding there. And then when I reply, because I've got the send mail as set up, it will reply from that same address.
Huge. All right.
So it's like totally seamless, transparent. You don't have to worry about it or think about it at all. That's awesome.
Probably a good time for one more quick one.
I was just gonna say, when you were showing us your inboxes before,
Yeah.
were those in different browsers or had?
No, so in Gmail, Google Apps, you can click here and click Add Account. So these are like a bunch of different random things
And
I've
then
got.
you can have them open at the same time?
Yeah, so like you see in the URL, this is u/0,
Yeah.
u/1. And I actually do a thing where like in Safari, I've set up these keyword search settings or something they call it. It's like an extension that I found. So I can just type G0 and I know that it's gonna like autofill that URL.
Oh.
G3, this is gonna pull up like my Tomodomo email.
Where does it end, Chris?
It doesn't.
So,
Yeah, anyway, that's what I got.
Cool.
I
And I guess we'll do drinks after this. If you are nerdy about this like I am, feel free to ask me about it there.